Hey everyone, it's Kitrin Marie with KM Designs and Photography. I am sitting back reflecting this evening. Have you ever stopped and thought, how did you get to this place? What have you been through so much over the last decade that has landed you right where you are at? Memories, we all have them. Are you better off from the experience from them? Or are you better off because they no longer exist? Where are you at with how you're living your life? How are you learning from the things that you went through and the things you're still going through? Lessons in life are repeated until learned. They're not my words. I believe it was a very famous poet who said that all the things that you need to learn, if you don't learn the lesson, they continue and they show up in your life. Are you better off from that memory? Did you learn anything from that experience? And are you changing your behavior with what you learned? People don't change unless they realize their actions. Behavior doesn't change until they start to pay attention to the things that they've done. If you could go back to that particular moment when you made that one decision, it altered your course. If you could go back and if you could relive it and if you could change it, would you? Think, when you made that choice, it was a risk, and look where it landed you. If you could go back and if you could redo it again, would you make the same choice? If you could go back and fix any of it, would you? Would you take the chance? Would you take the risk? Would you go and change your words, change your choice, change your actions? Would you have moved? Would you have taken another job? Would you have left your gal, your guy behind? Would you have gotten married? Would you have switched bank accounts? Would you have bought stock? A lot has happened in all of our lives since 2008, when the world seemed to turn upside down. I think one of my very favorite stories, way even before 2008, I always like to tell the story of how I met my ex-husband. He's my ex-husband now. I was married for 11 years. They were trying years, but it was a choice I made. I was seeing somebody, my high school boyfriend, and was a little aggravated that things weren't going the way that I wanted to go. And being Italian, big family wedding, and everybody was at the house, and then we're making cookies, and everyone was staying for dinner. And we lived in a two-family flat, and my aunt said, go upstairs and go get the pepper. They needed it for whatever they were making. And I went upstairs, and thinking it was my high school boyfriend, I happened to peek around the corner, and it wasn't. It was my future husband-to-be. And at that particular moment, I made a choice, I made a decision, and although things didn't happen as that quick, it was 2 years later when we finally got married, but in that split second, I had kind of decided that I was done and I was going to go in a whole other direction. Now, mind you, the marriage didn't last. 11 years, two great kids. Learned a lot of lessons. If I could go back and if I could redo that moment, would I do it different? You really don't know, because it was a risk and it was a chance. And we've all had those risks and we've all had those chances. If you could say one more thing to a person, would it change the outcome? I don't know. I think we all have regrets. I think we all have those moments where we want to say things and we don't know how to say them. We don't know how to get back to a place to fix what was done, damage that occurred, situations that could have been completely different. If you could go back, could you? Would you? And what would you say? And how would you do it? How did you get where you are right now? What steps and what roads have you taken to get where you're at? And are you really happy with where you're at and with what you're doing? You need to stop and you need to reflect, and you need to relive all those memories in your head, painful or not. Laugh, cry, think of that 1 second that changed it all. Can you go back? Can you fix it? Can you start over? It's a lot to think about, but you know what? There's a lot of steps and a big journey ahead of all of us. I always kind of talk about a big picture. What is your big picture really? What does your big picture entail? Everybody's is different. Nobody's is the same. We all want the general to love and to be loved and to be nurtured and to be taken care of. To have a partner who's trustworthy and loyal and who's going to have your back in all situations. To have that great job and be fulfilled with what you're doing and how you make your living, no matter how much it is that you make your living. Are you happy with what you're doing? Can you change what you're doing, and can you change the way that you look towards how you're making a living? If you think back to when you were a little kid, what did you want to do when you grew up? Are you living it? Are you living that dream? It's a lot to think about. I am Kitra Marie. I am a writer, I am an artist, and I am a photographer. If you like any of my videos, please feel free to share. Send an email to kitramarie@gmail.com. You can see all my work at kitramarie.weebly.com. Stop and think. Stop and reflect. If you could go back and if you could change that 1 particular second, would you do the same thing? Would you make the same choice? Take a chance. I'll see you real soon. Thanks.